this was the song that brought the infamous phrase "Who's your daddy?" into existence.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought that was weird.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Soundlab Studios. This is, I guess, Soundlab Studios rebooted because it's been a while since I posted a video. This is kind of our new series that we're doing. It's our first album review in our new series. I guess you could call this our third season because we kind of had season 1 and season 2. I've made playlists of season 1 and season 2. I don't know if this is a TV show or what, but anyway, today we are going to be doing an album review of a 1960s album that was overlooked whenever it was first released from 1968. This is the Zombies Odessey and Oracle album, and no fooling, we released this on April Fool's Day, so it's not a joke. That is what we're doing. I had some ideas on April Fool's videos I could make, but I decided just to do a serious album review. This is going to be up on Wednesday, I think, but we're recording on April Fool's Day. But anyway, we got Jason and Bryer and Nick here to help us do the review. It's going to be great. I haven't had very many videos with all of them at one time, but this is kind of what we're going to be doing from now on. It's going to be an album reviews with 1, 2, or all 3 of them, and just whoever's available, and that's going to be released on Wednesdays, and then once a month I'm going to try to do my live streams where we either do a top 10 or a discography ranking. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the album. This was released in 1968. This is actually only their second album, but it was their last album for a very long time, and it has lots of psychedelic influences. So do you guys have just any general thoughts on this album before we get into the review?
So for me personally, I've heard about this album for quite a bit, but I never heard it till Garrett suggested we do this. So this is the first time listening to this. I'll kind of explain as we go along, but overall, a pretty enjoyable experience. But I'll go more in depth when we go through the track listing.
Okay.
Yeah, I first heard about this album on Reactions to the Classics with Sean and Trey Holmes.
Good channel.
I did a review on this album, which I never heard of. And this was a couple of years ago, I think, when they did this, I want to say. And I never heard of the album, but I was a fan of the Zombies. They had some, big hits like She's Not There and Tell Her No and Time of the Season. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'd love to check out a zombie album. And first time I listened to it, I wasn't that crazy about it. I don't know. Maybe it was different than what I was used to. And,
that's a good sign for an album. If you listen to it for the first time and you're like, I just don't get it, but then when you listen to it again.
Yeah, and then recently I've been listening to it more and more, and every time I listen to it, the more I'm enjoying it. And yeah, so of course coming up to doing this, I listened to it, a couple times this week, and yeah, I'm starting to go, man, this is a really good album. I don't know why I didn't like it the first time. And it's such unusual because I almost want to say it's like Baroque pop music. I don't know.
That's a very good way of describing it.
Yeah, which is different to me than what I'm used to listening to.
Yes, I really enjoy this album. I listened to it earlier this year, not soon enough for it to be in my top albums of 1968 video. Spoiler alert, this is my new favorite album of 1968, even better than the White Album in my opinion. That may be a controversial take, but I'll talk more about that when we get to ranking. So let's go ahead and dig into the album. Alright, starting off...
I didn't get to share my opinion.
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
I know.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was quiet the whole time, but my experience with Odyssey and Oracle was I kept hearing about it. I'm like, ooh, British invasion, you know, this is an essential for, you know, the times, you know, this and that. And I was working at Giant at the time, so I would have like a headphone on and I would hear it. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good, but I got to give it more listens. And then I kept listening to it, and this basically got me through work. And it's just, I think I mentioned in my top albums of the year, I think I had it as an honorable mention. I think you mentioned, you're like, oh yeah, I didn't listen to that yet, I think I should check it out. Like, you should. Maybe. I don't have the best of memories, but maybe that's how
I had heard about it a lot, but Glenn Kellaway from The Basement was doing a live stream, and Sam St. John was talking about albums that everyone should own, and he pulled up Odyssey and Oracle, I think, and said, like, if you haven't heard this album, go listen to it. And I'd heard about it a lot, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's time for me to go listen to it. And also, Rod Argent, the keyboard player, played synthesizers on the Who Are You album. And so I'm like, okay, so it's got a connection to another album I've heard, so it's like, better go check this out. And so I listened to it, and we'll save my opinions for whenever we dig into the album.
Yep.
All right, let's get going. Side 1, track 1, Care of Cell 44.
Yeah, for me personally, I think this was a very strong opening track. Very lyrically, it's very different. It's kind of pretty cool for the time. It's just about a prisoner in jail, just writing to their loved one. And yeah, it was just some great mellotron and keyboards throughout, and that kind of carries out throughout this whole album. Like, the mellotron really is the big thing that really stood out to me throughout this album. You want to know something really
cool about this album? This album was recorded in Abbey Road Studios, and so that mellotron was the one that the Beatles played on Strawberry Fields, because they had left it in the studio.
Yeah, I actually was doing research on it, and then, they actually borrowed it from John Lennon. So I thought that was very cool that they were able to use it. But yes, this song has a very upbeat, kind of hopeful vibe to it. And there's like different key changes to it, which is very interesting. And another thing that really stood out throughout this album was definitely the backing vocals. It has kind of I don't know. I got sort of like a Beach Boy-esque vibe from them. Obviously not quite, but I wouldn't be surprised if they took a little inspiration from Pet Sounds a little bit.
I hear a lot of Beach Boys inspiration from this album.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think pretty good opening track. I think it really sets the stage on this album.
I really like this song. Really strong opener. Definitely a track that definitely got me the first listen. It was just a song that I really enjoyed. I like the part where it was like bum, bum, bum. Like, they definitely like a lot of British people at the time really took inspiration from Pet Sounds. Like, there was this solo artist named Billy Nichols. He really liked it. He made an album called Would You Believe, which I'm going to recommend to all three of you guys, and hopefully we might do a review on that album someday. But the Small Faces were involved in that album. But
cool.
Just a lot, like the Beatles had inspiration. The Hollies definitely had inspiration. There's a lot of songs from For Certain Because and Butterfly that definitely remind me of Pet Sounds. And this album and this song just aren't definitely not an exception to that, with the whole inspiration from Pet Sounds.
Yeah, I agree with everybody else. I love this song. It's such a great opener to this album. It's one of my favorite songs on the album, and one of my favorite Zombie songs. I never heard of this song before I listened to this album. It's not a hit song that was on the radio that I know about. But it's such a good song. I'm like, wow, like, I'm glad I listened to this album, got to hear this song. It's one of my favorites. And like I said, I love the I guess you said mellotron. I always call it just a Baroque keyboard, whatever. That piano sound at the beginning. I love how it intros in, and then the vocalist comes in, and great vocals. I mean, throughout the whole album, but definitely love the vocals on here and the melody. And like you said, the background vocals are so great mixed in with it. Yeah, such a fun song to listen to.
What I really like about this song, and honestly the Zombies sound in general, is Rod Argent's keyboards. It's very piano and keyboard driven. And like a lot of 60s rock is it's either guitar or piano driven. And like I'm a guitarist. As much as I love the guitar, I do love me some good keyboard music. Billy Joel, Elton John, and the Zombies as well now. But like you just start the album and you hear that piano come in. It's just really cool, and it's really happy sound. It just makes you feel really good listening to this. Kind of it. Bryer mentioned earlier, it is kind of odd lyrics. I think it's about like somebody expecting either a best friend or maybe it's his girlfriend, like is being released from jail. He gets to see them again. Like it's I haven't heard a song with those lyrics before. It's like it's interesting, but if somebody that like I was friends with was like sent to jail and finally got to come back, I'd probably be like blasting this song. But I love just the happy, peppy, upbeat feel of it. And it is going to get a thumbs up in my book. All right. We are moving along to track 2, A Rose for Emily.
Oh, don't get me started on this song. Oh my god. Like this song, another song, like I was like, this is a pretty good song, but like once I like really like this is either my favorite song or my second favorite song on the album. It's
same.
It's just so good. Like it amazes me how this wasn't the hit single off the album. Don't get me wrong, Time of the Season's a great song, and I'll voice my opinion on that song when we get to it. But
Time of the Season might be like my 4th favorite on this album. That's how good this album is.
Really? Oh wow.
This song should have definitely either been like the lead-off single or at least the second single at most. But yeah, definitely a masterpiece. And again, the Pet Sounds influence, the harmonies, and just the kind of ballady piano with the vocalist. I don't know the band members, but whoever sings lead vocals on this.
Colin Blunstone.
Really,
I think it's the name of the guy who sang. I only know Colin Blunstone and Rod Argent are the only names I know.
Very underrated vocalist, if you ask me. Very underrated.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of Beach Boys influence on this one, like Pet Sounds. I feel like if Brian Wilson was able to complete Smile, this song would fit very well on it, honestly speaking. Because I've got the Smile Sessions album, which is like 85% of what Smile would have been, but this song would have fit right on there. It reminds me a lot of Surf's Up, which is a great Beach Boys song. But this kind of, Jason said it earlier, this is Baroque pop. The chord changes, there's like interesting chords in this song. It's pretty much just vocal and piano, but just absolutely amazing.
This is the most Baroqueness of the songs on this album, I think. That piano and the vocals, so great. I enjoy. It's almost a toned down kind of song. There's not a lot of. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of instruments and stuff in there. Of course, the other vocals come in, but yeah, really good song. A really good start to this album, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really good 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, track 3, Maybe After He's Gone. And it might just be me, but this song kind of gives me Rubber Soul vibes. Like, You Won't See Me.
Yeah, it definitely has that classic 60s pop rock sort of sound to me.
It's like Rubber Soul, but like with the sound of Pet Sounds. Like
perfect way of putting it.
Yeah, it's like if the Beach Boys recorded You Won't See Me for the Pet Sounds album, but I know we're gonna like compare it to Rubber Soul and Pet Sounds a lot, but that's to me that doesn't put it away from this amazing album. But
you have a copy of it?
Yes.
They're so expensive.
Not an original.
Okay.
Stereo remaster, but
if I were to get a copy, there is a compilation called The Time of the Zombies. It's 2 discs. Disc 1 has all their hit singles on side 1. Side 2 is songs from their unreleased 3rd album. And sides 3 and 4 are the entire Odyssey and Oracle album. And so I'd probably get that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But maybe after he's gone, it's another song that I wasn't crazy about when I first listened to it, but like after listening to it a lot, I really start to appreciate all the subtleness of it, and it's definitely a grower for sure. Like it's a song where it's like if you're not crazy about it, just give it a few more listens. You'll learn to love it.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. Anything else about this one?
No, it's another great song. The first three,
Oh,
just, I mean, what a great start. I mean, these first three songs, in my opinion, really set this album. I mean, on a really good, progression.
Track 4, we are going to be going with Beachwood Park.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I
very
love this song.
yeah, this is a very cool, like chill psychedelic number. I really like the effects on the guitar on it, and apparently this is kind of like the bass player. This is the bass player wrote this one, kind of about a real life place that he used to go to, kind of near this private school, and it definitely has that nostalgic feel to it, and so I really enjoy that song very much.
I love the guitar intro on this.
Penny Lane in terms of the nostalgia. And this sounds like a song, actually not from Pet Sounds, but it sounds like a song that would be off of the Village Green Preservation Society album with the nostalgia sound to it. Like
It does.
like that whole album, like about nostalgia, like Village Green, do you remember Walter, stuff like that. Like that's what this reminds me of. Like this sounds like something that Ray Davies would write, like, ooh, Beachwood Park, and this has like the Village Green Preservation Society feel with it, but like also has that sound of like Pet Sounds, like Pet Sounds meets Village Green,
Which, speaking of which, I owe you viewers a review on that album, Village Green Preservation Society. So that will be, I'll do that one eventually. But I definitely hear that in that song. Guitar intro is great. I like the kind of the do 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 do. I like that part. Really good. All right. Anything else on this one?
Just another amazing song. I have
Absolutely.
no complaints.
Okay, track 5, Brief Candles.
Yeah, I love this song. That chorus, I can't get out of my head. When I listen to this song, it's out of all the songs, yeah, this chorus, I just sing this all the time when I'm walking around my house because it's just so catchy. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite songs. Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, yeah, I love that chorus.
Yeah, and again, the piano just sounds really good on this song.
Yes.
And I really like the metaphor it is. Brief candles. About it's nothing's permanent. It's like a temporary thing. Like it is kind of a breakup song, so it makes sense. But definitely very like the songwriting in this album.
Just another
kind of
really relaxing song after two songs,
And also kind of the changing perspective. It starts from like the girl's perspective and it goes to the guy's perspective.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Another good song. All right, side 1 is going to close with, oh my goodness, this song is amazing. Hung Up on a Dream.
Oh my God.
Really great rocker on this one.
This one commenter said it perfectly. Like, this definitely should have been, I'm not saying it's my favorite song off of it, or it would probably be my 3rd or 4th favorite song. It definitely deserved it was definitely A-side worthy, but it wasn't, which is sad.
I like the mellotron in this. Arjun is kind of playing these string sections, but on the keyboard it's like a primitive 1960s keyboard, but like it's really cool. I love the guitar solo on this one. It's amazing. Just kind of this song is the trippy hippie right here. The psychedelic nature of this one, it just kind of feels like you're flying when you're listening to this song.
So much going on with this song too. It's like when I first heard it, it was so overwhelming the first time I heard it. I'm like, this is definitely a song I'm gonna have to keep listening to, because it's not like I didn't dislike it at all. It was just a little overwhelming the first listen, and then it's definitely a song you have to listen to more than one time to fully like grasp everything that's going on in the song.
Jason, anything from you?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I wasn't crazy about the song. It was just in the middle of the road compared to all the other songs on here. Like those first 3 songs are just so killer, and then Brief Candles I love, and then I would say this is I don't want to say it's towards the bottom because they're all pretty good songs, but it's not one I really went back to as much as the others.
Well, with the album with 12 amazing tracks, there has to be a song that you have to think is on the bottom.
Yeah,
it's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know it's a great album. Like if this song was the best song and like all the others are crap, then yeah, but that's how good this album is that you think this is one of the weaker tracks.
For me, that song is our next song. The first song on the second side, Changes, still amazing, but it's probably my least favorite on the album, even though like the Mellotron intro is really cool, and I like the laid back feel that's just like the percussion, like it's like, I think he's at like bongo drums or something.
Yeah, I think
and
something
just
like
them
that.
singing. Kind of talking about changing seasons, changing from spring to summer to fall.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. Yeah, kind of the same, kind of near the bottom for me, but still pretty good.
I love this song. It reminds me of Sid Barrett and Pink Floyd around that time. That's probably why you're not as crazy about it, because you're not crazy about those psychedelic Pink Floyd albums. Because this person's like, yeah, this is definitely Sid Barrett-esque. This definitely, like, after going through like Piper at the Gates of Dawn and some of Sid Barrett's solo stuff, this definitely reminds me of something that Sid Barrett would do.
I still like it. It's just like not as good as some of the other songs.
It's like I said to Jason, like, you know, you have an album full of 12 amazing tracks. You know, there's bound to be one song that not like that's bad, but like there has to be one song that you're like, yeah, this is my least favorite.
Yeah,
I agree. Like going from Hung Up on a Dream to when you listen on, of course, I listen to on Spotify, so
same.
When you have all these really great songs and then you get hung up on Dream and Changes, it definitely was like the weak part of the album. It kind of like, oh, this kind of like right in the middle. So it like begins really strong and ends really strong, I think. But like right in the middle is like, it's just okay.
It reminds me of I was listening to the Waterloo album by ABBA, and you like after the amazing opening track, and then you get Sitting on the Palm Tree and King Kong song, you're just like, all right. and then you listen to the rest and you're like, oh yeah, this is a good album.
For me, that's like the Police's Ghost in the Machine album. I love that album, but there's like 2 or 3 songs in the middle that I'm like, they're not as strong. Because it starts real good with Spirits in the Mature World, every little thing she does is magic, Invisible Sun, even like Demolition Man, but you get like Rehumanize Yourself, or like One World Is Enough. And like I'm not as crazy on those ones, but then you get like the great ending of Omega Man and Secret Journey in Darkness. But anyway, back to the album. Track 8, I Want Her, She Wants Me. This is another very peppy, happy sounding pop song.
Yeah. You know, this is kind of just a song about, you know, this guy hooks up with a girl, and he's kind of like on the high, shall we say? But I kind of like how you get a little bit of both perspectives of the male and the female, because especially in the pre-choruses where you get the female's perspective, and it kind of has definitely a different key than the verses. So I kind of like that. There's a little bit of that tension where you don't know if the relationship's going to go well or is it not. But yeah, still a pretty cool song. I think it's kind of in the middle for me, but yeah, I liked it. I like this one.
Yeah, I like it. This is I Want Her, She Wants Me in the next track. You know, like I'm kind of feeling like what you guys think about the last 2 tracks. Like these are like to me the weakest points of the albums. I always forget about the tracks. Like every other track, I look at the name and I can imagine the song. Like these 2 tracks, like I always draw a blank on them. I'm not saying I don't like them. Like whenever I do listen, I'm like, oh yeah, these are great tracks, but they're not as memorable as like the first 7 tracks on the album.
Man, I love this song. It's one of my favorites on the album. Okay. I can't get it out of my head when I listen to it. It's one that I keep going back to. I just love when they do the I Want Her, She Wants Me.
Oh yeah.
And they hit these incredible high notes, and I actually love it when they hit that I Want Her, She Wants Me, and it's like, oh my god, love that when they hit those high notes. It's some of the best on the album.
I like the song. I probably like it more than Nick and Bryer and less than Jason, if that shows how much I like it.
There you go.
We get to track 9. This Will Be Our Year. I love this song.
Yeah, same here. I enjoy this song.
Especially good grief, if you're listening to this on Spotify, slip the mono version in there. On all original pressings, you'll get a fake stereo version. There's a horn overdub that's not on the stereo mix that like you need in order for this song to actually like come together in your brain. Because the first time I listened to him, like, that was okay. I heard that there was a horn overdub that was missing from the stereo remix because that was done in the 90s. So I played the mono version. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's one of the best songs of the album.
Maybe I listened to that because, like I said, this song and the last song to me are the weakest points of the album. And like I said, I'm not saying I don't like them. They're great songs, but they're just like not memorable or songs that I like look and be like, ooh, I know this song. But yeah.
All right. One of the things I really like about this song is the piano. Again, like pretty much all the other songs on this album. But and I'm using the mono version as reference, but the interplay between the piano and the horns on this is like really good. And I just love how some of the songs on this album just make you feel happy. Like you just listen and it's like I just get such a good feeling from listening to this album.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So we're moving on to The Butcher's Tale.
Oh, don't even get me started on that track. When I first heard that track, I'm like, my mind was blown. It was like, dang, this is good. This is, like I said, either this, well, I said Rose for Emily could be my favorite, but this could be my favorite too. These two tracks always interchange for me. Like, depends on how I feel. Like sometimes a Rose for Emily, with how like slow and nice it is, that could be my favorite. But then this song could be my favorite, like when I'm like in the mood for something like that's absolutely crazy. And I think this is based off of a true story too.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, this is another one of the best songs on the album. I love the ominous opening with just that. And then like the chorus, because this is like an anti-war song about a butcher who's kind of forced to go to war, and just like how he keeps us like in his really high register singing, like he can't stop shaking, and it's like this is just really powerful, kind of what people who go off to war kind of have to deal with. All right, our next track is Friends of Mine.
For me, this was kind of my least favorite song. It's kind of back to your typical 60s pop rock number. It was still good. I like the kind of the breakdown in the bridge. I think that was kind of cool. And also at the very end, you hear like a random and then
that's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. But overall, there wasn't anything else that really stood out to me in this one. But it's okay.
I agree. This is probably my second to least favorite song on the album. Other than I like the chorus where they're like saying the names of people. And fun fact, these are the names that they're singing in the chorus are actually couples that the members of the band actually knew. And whenever they had their reunion tour a few years ago, they asked them in an interview about these people and they said, oh yeah, no, not one of those couples is still married. So it's kind of sad, but if you write a whole song about they're such good friends of mine that love each other, and then like 50 years later, oh yeah, they're all broke up. That's
I like the song. It's my third least favorite track on the album. I do like kind of like how it go like the very end of the song, it kind of like goes into the next track. I always thought that was kind of like a cool little detail of the song. Around that, it's not a generic pop song, but it's definitely not like they weren't firing at all 5 cylinders on this album.
Yeah. All right. Now, sorry, Jason, go ahead.
I agree. It's not one of the stronger songs on the album, but it's okay.
All right, now we are getting to the big one.
Now the big one.
Yeah.
Hit single on this album, and the entire selling point when this album first came out, because I don't believe how, but this album did not sell well at all when it was first released, and so this song was a big hit single. Kind of tried to sell albums based off of this song, but The Time of the Season. Absolutely amazing pop song. Great way to end this album.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why it was a hit. I mean, it has a great rhythm to it. The organ solo, I mean, the organ on this song is just incredible on here. And it just perfectly represents the whole hippie psychedelic movement to me. And yeah, it was a great way to close out the album, I think. Also,
it definitely should be noted that this was the song that brought the infamous phrase, "Who's your daddy?" into existence.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird.
And then you got like the background people, "Who's your daddy?"
Who's your? Yeah, I was like, okay.
It's a great song, but compared to all the unique and amazing songs on this album, this is like my fourth least favorite song on the album. It's a great hit. I like it a lot, but it's just the least unique song on the album. It's just the decent hit at best.
I think it's amazing. It's just there are more amazing songs on this album.
Yeah,
Mm.
like Carousel 44,
Yeah.
Rose for Emily, Butcher's Tail, Western Front, 1914. Maybe After He's Gone, like those should have been the hit. Those 4 songs could have been the hit single, but they happen to pick that song. But yeah.
And I like had never heard this song before I listened to the album. I just heard that it was the hit, and so like coming in from a completely neutral standpoint on what's the hit and what's not, like I was like, this is good, but it's not like the best song on the album.
Oh, it's my favorite song on the album. It's my favorite zombie song.
That's okay, Jason.
Yeah.
It's top 100 favorite songs of all time. I have it on my list right now. I love when that song begins, man. You know what song it is when it hits that bass.
That bass.
I love the
boom boom
boom boom
boom boom
boom boom boom. Oh, it's like so great. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I love it. And the vocals are absolutely amazing. It's a somewhat unusual song, unique song. I've never heard of any other band. I don't know. They had such an interesting sound to them. And yeah, that piano, the dun dun dun. It's like I love that so much. And and then of course the harmonies. It's the time of the season for loving. Like that's a man. I love the sound of the song, and vocally is just amazing. Yeah, definitely one of the best.
You know what this song reminds me of? It reminds me of "Get Yourself Together," which predates this song, and I think they took influence from that song because it was almost the exact same as begins. Like, dun, dun, dun. It's kind of the same thing, but like it's different. But I think whoever came up with the idea on this album was like, hey, check out this groovy Zombies album. I mean, this groovy Small Faces album. Let's do something like that.
That's interesting, Nick. I definitely need to give that Small Faces song a listen again. All right, that brings us to our final score and favorite songs. So for me, favorite songs, I'm going to pull it up again. All right. And I'm going in the order they appear on the album. Carousel 44, A Rose for Emily, Hung Up on a Dream, This Will Be Our Year, Butcher's Tale, and Time of the Season. Although the whole album is amazing.
Okay, my favorites will be A Rose for Emily, Maybe After He's Gone, Beachwood Park, Changes, Butcher's Tale, and that's it for me. And like he said, amazing album, no complaints.
Yeah, and for me personally, I guess I'll just say my top 5. Honestly, my top 5 could change because the more I hear it, I feel like things could be moved around a bit. But my top 5 in no particular order, I would go with "I Want Her, She Wants Me," "Brief Candles," "Hang Up on a Dream," "This Will Be Our Year," and "Time of the Season."
Yeah, Time of Season's number 1 for me. Carousel 44 is number 2. I Want Her, She Wants Me is number 3 on here. Probably put Brief Candles maybe number 4, and A Rose for Emily number 5. And yeah, that'd probably be my top 5. But yeah,
I gotta give I Want Her, She Wants Me more of a listen because
and you need to go listen to the mono version of This Will Be Our Year.
I like those 2 songs.
The horns make the song.
I like those 2 songs, but it's just not memorable. But maybe if I keep listening to those 2 songs, I might get it.
Yeah.
All right. It is now time for us to give our final score on the album. For me, I am surprised at how high I am scoring this album, but this is going to get a 9 out of 10.
All right.
It is absolutely amazing and one of the best albums of the 60s.
I give it a 10 out of 10. It's to me, I give 10 out of 10s pretty lightly. Not like lightly, but like when I think an album's perfect, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's definitely up there with in 1968 with like the White Album, Village Green, Odkin Snuck on Flake. It's definitely a masterpiece. I wouldn't put it up with Odkins and Village Green, but it's definitely worthy of a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So yeah, my score, I would say, I'm not sure mine will be the lowest, but it's still pretty high because I'm still very new to this album.
That's
and
okay.
I feel like the more I hear it, it would
it
will go up a bit. But for right now, I am gonna go with an 8.5 because
that's a good score still.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good score. But yeah, I feel like I need to hear it more, and it'll probably go up. But I don't really listen to a ton of the psychedelic '60s pops sort of scene too often. But I was very impressed with this album, and I would definitely consider buying it on whether CD, probably CD first, and then maybe a vinyl in the future. But yeah,
if you get a vinyl, definitely get that Time of the Zombies compilation because it's super easy to find. You get it for like $20, and it's got like the original mastering, so you're going to hear the horns on this will be Our Year, and you get like a second disc that's got their hit singles with like She's Not There and Tell Her No. And as well as some songs that were from an unreleased album.
Yeah, but overall, very good album. Very glad I was able to hear it for the first time this week.
Yeah.
Breyer's going to downplay getting the vinyl, but he's going to get the vinyl.
Yeah.
Breyer's always
like,
I won't get too many vinyls, just CDs mostly.
15 in my possession.
And then next thing you know, he buys 5 vinyls on his next video. So
by the way, congratulations on getting The Stranger. That is a great album to have on vinyl. Thank you.
Yeah, very good find. I was able to find that one. Very happy.
One day he's going to change his channel from Breyer's Music Showcase to Breyer's Vinyl Showcase.
Well, then again, it is music, so it's all encompassing of all.
But one day you're gonna be like, I'm done with CDs. I'm going vinyl all the way, baby.
Just watch. When he's 70, it's going to be Breyer's 8-track showcase.
Cassettes too, why not? Who knows?
Yeah, I'll just have 1 or 2 vinyls, but no.
Breyer's reel-to-reel showcase.
Yep. I was just to say that. Breyer's Edison cylinder.
Oh, that's taking it too far.
Oh man, I'll be living in a box by then.
This is my amazing 1800s.
I'll be bankrupt if I get
Maple Leaf Rag by Scott Joplin. Wonderful album. It's only 40 seconds long, but okay. I think we made Jason freeze up.
Are we keeping this in? This will be part of the episode?
Yeah, it's part of the episode.
Gotta love it.
Something weird happened. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching our review. We hope you'll join us next time. We're probably after this video is over, we're going to talk over what album we want to review next time. Such a great album. Go listen to it if you've never heard it before, and we will see you guys next time. Tell it to me slowly. Tell you why.